Welcome to part 7 of lesson 8. So we're going to examine now the second method, the second method in solving oblique triangles. We have cosine law. For cosine law, okay, so it might actually look like complicated, but there is actually a pattern here. So again, we have an oblique triangle. So the oblique triangle, in this scenario, the given is either 3 sides or 2 sides with an included angle. So what is the implication of this? The implication of this is that you can never find a pair of angle and side, unlike in the sine law. Okay, so in that scenario, you're going to use these formulas. Okay, do not be afraid of the formulas because there is a pattern here. You can actually just try to remember one formula. For example, here we try to remember this formula A. As long as we remember formula A, we can remember formula B and C. Same goes with the angles. So as long as you remember capital letter A, you can actually write B and C. So how? So take note that the angle A, if it's side A, it is always paired with the angle A. So cos A, cos is found here. Cos A should be cos A. Then the rest of the letters, so we have B and C. So we have B squared plus C squared minus twice of B and C. Then we have cos A. Okay, so for example, if you're trying to look for B, so the remaining letters, which is A and C, so we have A squared plus C squared minus 2AC. Then of course the angle should be capital letter B because we're looking for the side B. Okay, so cos B. So same goes with C. So we have A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos C. So in angles, so if you're trying to look for A, so the last part here will be A, so minus A squared. So you're still going to add the two other letters or variables, which is B squared and C squared. So B squared plus C squared minus A squared all over 2BC. So it's kind of similar. If you try to observe, these two is kind of similar. Okay. Take note, it's actually inverse trigo function. So you're going to use arc cos. Okay, arc cos. So same goes with B. So if you're looking for B, so it's minus B squared here, and it's the sum of the remaining variables squared, A squared plus C squared, then 2AC. For C, it's minus C squared here, then A squared plus B squared all over 2A. Okay, so let's try to look at an example. Okay, so let's have this example. So we're trying to find the missing side and angles. It's similar. We just list first the given. So we have A, B, and C. So our A, we don't have A. So we're looking for A. For B, we have 120 degrees. And for C, we're looking for C also. How about sides? Sides A. We have sides A, which is opposite of A, which is 19. Then we have B. So B is also unknown, side B. And we have side C. So side C, opposite of side C is angle C is side C, which is 15. Okay, so try to observe the given. Our given does not contain any pairings of an angle and a side. Okay, so if this happens, we're going to use cosine law. Okay, so first we try to look for what can look. Let's try to look for we don't have B, so let's try to look for side B first. Okay, so why side B? It's because solving for the sides first is more efficient or effective in cosine law, unless there are some missing sides. Okay, like for example, two sides are missing, that then we're forced to solve for the angle first. So we'll use B equals square root of a squared plus c squared minus 2. Okay, then it's AC cos of whatever is your side. So the letter for the angle is the same, so cos B. Then substitute. So what is your a squared? A squared, we have 19 squared plus c squared is 15 squared minus 2 times 19 times 15 cos of whatever is your v, which is 120 degrees. Okay, then we'll use the calculator. Where's the calculator? Oh, it's here. Okay, so let's try to use the calculator. So we have okay, so square root of 19 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times 19 times 15 cos of 120 degrees. So we have square root of 871. So B is square root of 871. B is square root of 871. Okay, so or unless if the given is a decimal, so you write the decimal form. So for now, if you can actually answer in exact form, try to answer in exact form to avoid introducing more errors in the computation. Okay, so we have B. So B is square root of 871. Okay, now since we have B, try to look at this. We now have a pair. Okay, we now have a pair of angles and sides. So in case that you have a pair of angles and sides, we can now apply law of sines. Okay, so we can also apply law of sines. So let's try answering for A. So A over sine A, so we're looking for A, capital letter A. This equals, so our B over sine B. Okay, sine, sorry, it's sine. This is capital letter A, and this is small letter A. Okay, so we have A over sine A, so sine, wait, sorry, it's the other way around. I try to erase first. Okay, so we're looking for the angle, so it should be sine A over A. So we have sine A over A equals sine B over B. Okay, then sine A over A is 19 equals sine B is sine of 120 degrees all over B is square root of 871. Okay, then we cross multiply. So I'll just write 19 here and then erase 19 at the bottom, cross multiply. Okay. So next step will be to take the arc sine of this. Okay, so arc sine. So let's just use our calculators. Where's the calculator? Okay. Sorry. Okay, so we have to use our calculator. So we have arc sine. Again, we have arc sine because we're finding the angle A. Arc sine, then just copy whatever is at this at the left side, this partially. So we have 19 sine of 120 degrees all over square root of 871. Arrow close equals. So we have 33.885. So 885.89. 33.89. So the angle is about 33.89. Okay, 33.89. So A is 33.89 degrees. Okay, about 33.89 degrees. Okay, so I erase the writings first so that we can answer the last part. Or never mind, we can actually answer the last part using the angles. So we have 33.89 here. Uh, Again, we're given two angles, so we can proceed to answer C. So C is just, so it's here at the upper part. It's just 180 minus 33.89 degrees minus 120 degrees. Okay, so C would be, we have 180 minus 33.89 minus 120, which is 26.11 degrees. 26.11 degrees. So that's the missing elements. And that's the answer of this triangle, for this triangle. Okay, so let's have the second example for cosine law. So again, the technique is to release down the given. Okay, so we have, in this scenario, we have x, y, z. So let's just try to use x, y, z for a change. So capital letter X, Y, and Z. So is x given? No. Y given? No. So it's all blank. Let's just put blanks here. Okay, then of course we have small letters, the sides. Okay, so if you try to observe, it is actually the sides which are given. So x would be 8. Opposite of x is 8. Opposite of y is 6. Opposite of c is 9. Okay, so if this happens, the sides are given, we're going to use law of cosine, or cosine law. But we're going to use the formula for the angles. So we have x equals the arc cos, okay, of, so we have used the variable x, so we're going to use y and z. So y squared plus z squared minus x squared all over, it's still 2, then yz. Okay, then we substitute. So our capital letter X will have our cos of our y is 6 squared plus z is 9 squared minus 8 squared all over 2 times 6 times 9. Okay, so let's try to use our calculator here. Calcu. Let's calcu. Okay. I'm sorry. From image. Here. Here. Okay. So erase. Okay, so we will input our cost. So again, check if it's in degree form. So it should be D here. So shift our cost. Then we have, okay, so fraction, it's a fraction. So 6 squared plus 9 squared minus 8 squared all over 2 times 6 times 9. Okay, then close parenthesis, then equal. So we have 60.61 degrees. 60.61 degrees. So I'll write in another color. What's that? 60.61. So we have 60 for x, we have 60.61 degrees. Okay, so let's try to solve the other two. Okay, then shift cosine. Okay, so we have x squared, or x is 8. We have 8 squared plus z is 9 squared minus, we have y 6 squared all over, we have twice of 8 times 9 parentheses. Okay, then close parentheses, then equal sign. So we have 40.80. Okay, so 40.80 degrees. So I'll write it here. So we have 40.80 degrees. And lastly, we'll have this here. So we have arc cos, so shift cos. We have the fraction x squared is 8 squared plus y squared is 6 squared minus z is 9 squared over 2 times 8 times 6 close parentheses equal. So we have 78.58. 78.58. So we have 78.58 degrees here. Okay, so these are the missing angles. Okay, so there's another way actually. After solving x, you can actually use sine law also. Sine law in solving y and z. After solving x, you may use sine law in solving y and z. But for the purpose of applying cosine law, so I just use the formula.